Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we had the beginning of the offseason with the draft in the re-sign stage. Now, we did let go of a couple players that were with our team last season, those being like Guerrero, Hornquist, etc., just because our cap situation is pretty tight. And I basically asked you guys at the end of the last episode if there's anything you guys want me to sign, and from the looks of it, we don't really need to make any signings just because of the amount of youth we have coming up from our system, because Bilesma could be back in the NHL under top 6 pairings. He's been absent from our NHL team for a few years, but he got some good years of growth down there in Tucson. As you can see, he was a plus 74 last year, so very much hoping that he could be a good top 6 defenseman for us for this year and many years to come. As well as Hordichuk is making his NHL debut probably this season as well, because you can see he had a pretty good AHL season. He was a plus 71, 50 points on the year as well. So I am very much hoping that this guy could be a pretty good defensive defenseman for our NHL team. And then Burkov obviously is also there, and then we also still got Tukinen, Sasaki, and Chikrin for another year at least before he might retire. And forward-wise, even we're pretty deep. As you can see, we have just in general pretty good forward core. A lot of guys jumping up as well, like Kagerodov, for example. He could end up taking over a Gallagher roster spot eventually. We also have Penner, who could be playing fourth line, Utsorf. So it doesn't really, I don't think it really makes sense for our team in general to sign anybody. Even goalie-wise, we could honestly just run Galiev as a backup and see how he does. Because even though he's listed as a minor starting goalie, he was really good when he played a few years ago. So I think it should be fine enough to play him as our backup this year, because he could be a 79 to start the next season anyways. So I think he'll probably be our backup to Beauregard for the upcoming season. But I don't really think we need to make much changes to this roster as of yet. We might need to do that at the trade deadline if we really need to, but otherwise I think our roster is pretty deep. Now, before we get into simming the rest of the offseason and then starting up the season simulation, we do have one comment to go over, and that's from HawksFan88. He says, I think you still have a very good team thanks to all the younger players that will be ready to play. I do not really think you need to sign anyone, which is basically what I was just saying. So yeah, I don't think we really need to sign anybody. It's kind of pointless, with the amount of stuff we have. And also because I don't really want to sign anybody to a big contract, considering we do have Agostino to give an extension to, which I'm already going to give him one before the start of the season, just because this guy, I want him here until he retires pretty much. He's 27 years of age, so if we give him an 8-year deal, he'll be 35, 36 by the end of it. And he's definitely worth paying an 8-year deal to, even if he wants $14 million, because he's just been an insane player. And for most of those 8 years and stuff like that, he'll get to play with Michkov, so his production still should be pretty good, I would assume. So I am going to give Agostino already an 8-year extension. We are going to try the 85% trick, though, with him, just so we could try and get him for a little bit less, because he's going to be making more money than Michkov, which is kind of funny considering he doesn't score as much goals, but I still really like Agostino. So let me open up my calculator here and do a little bit of math just to see what we could offer him with this 85% trick, because if we could get him locked up for 8 years, that would be awesome. So we'll do that times 0.85 and see what we could offer him. 12.18 it looks like, which is not terrible. I'd say that would be a pretty good contract to get him on, and I think he wants to come back anyways, so we more than likely should be able to afford him. So yeah, we'll do 8 by 12.2, which I think is a good contract for him, especially if he produces on a good level. And yeah, definitely want to keep him here until he retires, so let's re-sign him and see if he'll accept that. The only thing that's going to probably come back to bite us next offseason is all the contracts up for renewal, and the fact that Shelley is still signed for 1 year. I'm just really hoping that Shelley's contract is going to be much cheaper when he asks for another one eventually too, because I'd like to keep him around until he retires, but if we have to, we might have to let him go at some point just because of the salary cap hit and whatnot. But that is that. Also, I believe we still have one RFA that we're waiting for to re-sign. Yeah, we have 2 of them actually. McIntyre as well. I forgot about McIntyre even when I was thinking about what our roster would look like. So yeah, McIntyre and Redmond are also NHL players. So there's probably going to be somebody scratched that we don't want to, or we might have to trade away a roster player just to get these guys in the lineup. But we have more than enough players for our roster, I'd say, at this point in time. So let's begin simming up to next season and see if Agostino will accept that 8-year extension, which more than likely will. Yes, he does. So Agostino is now going to be a member of the Arizona Coyotes for probably the rest of his career at this point. I don't know if he's going to play till he's like 40 years old, but if he does, that would be pretty amazing. But I am very happy with that because, like I said, he's probably my favorite player in the series. Even though I really liked Shelley in the beginning, he's probably my favorite. McIntyre was offer sheeted by the Panthers, but I am going to match this offer because it's kind of pointless not to, because he's basically just a really good depth forward. So we're definitely going to match this offer. It's a cheap contract anyways, so might as well do it. It's not like it's going to set us over the salary cap. But yeah, we might have to trade away some players eventually just because some of them might end up getting scratched, and I don't want to have them scratched. Like, for example, McGillis might be one of these guys that we want to trade away at some point just to get younger guys into like the fourth line and stuff like that, because or else they don't really have much of a role on this team. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think our team should be good. Even though we don't have the best goaltending combination, still I think our team should be pretty good. Redmond's still trying to hold out for more money, so let's offer him his contract already so we don't have to wait till the start of the season. Shouldn't be too expensive, I would assume, at this point. So what is he asking for? Yeah, only 2.625. We'll sign him up because he might be into our top 6 this season. He might be a third line player depending on where we decide to play him in Shishkinov. So, but he'll more than likely accept that. There we go. We got everybody re-signed. Very excited to see what this team looks like on paper. But like I said, we might have to make some changes at the beginning of the year just to kind of get players actually in their correct spots, because I do not want to scratch like a young prospect like whatever his name was. Can't remember his name now. But there was a guy on the fourth line anyways that's like a 79 that should be playing. Okay, so we're probably almost at the start of the season. Yes, we are. I wonder where our guys signed. We could always check where Hornquist and whatnot signed, but Jesus Christ, our team. Sorry for my language, but Kagorodov is up to an 83, which is kind of outrageous. So Shelley's roster spot up here is kind of getting contended for, which is a little bit weird. Shishkinov should probably be up there, I would assume. But yeah, our roster is very deep. Look at all these 80s. I don't know if it's going to stay like that. And look at our depth, too. Yeah, somebody's going to have to get traded, I think, because there's no way we should be scratching Redmond, especially. And yeah, McIntyre is more of a fourth line player, so what we could do is probably flip Gallagher. Yeah, I think we might have to trade Gallagher, to be honest, because I don't really know where I could slot him in. Yeah, I think we got to trade away Gallagher. Let me flip-flop the two of those. Yeah, it's more likely Gallagher that would probably be flipped out, and then we can put Redmond into his roster spot. But I think we have to do this. I need to also get Utsorf in the lineup, though. So I might scratch McIntyre. I kind of want to play Utsorf this year, to be honest. So let's put McGillis over there. So that way we have more of like a grindy fourth line. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't know if all those guys are actually going to be in the 80s, but yeah, it does definitely suck to scratch like two younger kind of guys. But yeah, we're going to have to trade away Gallagher, I think. There's just no room for him on this team, at least at this moment. And then defensively, let's change around this defensive core. Bilesma is listed as a top 4 defenseman. What the heck? Wasn't expecting him to jump up that much. That's kind of surprising. Let's see if we could flip this around to kind of get it the way we want it. I definitely need Sasaki on the top pairing because he's getting paid like $6 million bucks. Was it? Yeah, 6.6. So I definitely need to have him up there. And that should be fine enough going in with this. And yeah, that should be good with goalies. Look at that, Galley has up to an 80 as well. I don't know if that's all going to be accurate when we get to the actual start of the season, but damn, that's pretty crazy. So yeah, definitely it's good that we didn't sign anybody, I'd say. But us coming off of 2 Stanley Cup wins and our team looking like this still is kind of outrageous. So yeah, we'll trade away Gallagher so that way we have 2 roster depth forwards. Do we have a depth defenseman in the minors, or are we going to have to sign one? We're going to have to sign a depth defenseman. I should have probably did that in free agency, but whatever. But yeah, we're going to definitely trade away Gallagher. We could trade away Gallagher just straight up for a depth defenseman instead of signing one. But let me just take a look at what's available for depth defenders first. See if there's anybody out there on the defensive front. Couple 78s, but anybody that would work well with our team, I have no idea. Anybody with good defensive awareness, 85, it's not bad. 87, but you're a real player, so I don't really care. 88 for Jakumovs. That's kind of intriguing. He's only 23 as well. And this guy is a UFA. Interesting. Was this guy ever drafted? Yeah, he was, but he just was let go of, I guess. We'll sign up this guy, because why not? Two-way deal. He'll be our depth defenseman this year. And then, yeah, we'll just trade away Gallagher for probably like a pick, just because I have no roster room for him. Even though he's a good player and all, I don't have the roster space for him. It kind of makes sense to get rid of him. You guys are probably like, okay. Yeah, it's probably because of Kagorodov, though. Yeah, Kagorodov is taking over like a lot of roster spots on this team, so with his growth, it makes sense for us to get rid of Gallagher wherever the heck he is. Doesn't have a lot of value, surprisingly. Actually, I should just go to the trade finder and see what we're throwing at us. But yeah, our team is pretty damn deep, it looks like, at least to start the preseason. If it's like that to start the regular season, our team should be definitely a playoff team again this year. Okay, so let's just take one from any team, really. A third and a 4 from the Islanders ain't too bad. I'll send him to the East just to kind of get the risk of not playing him until the Stanley Cup Finals, maybe. Yeah, I'm going to set up the third and a 4 from the New York Islanders. So best of luck, Gallagher, in New York. And thank you for your time here with the 2 Stanley Cup wins, but we had to free up some roster space. I know he was a favorite player in the locker room, but we had to do that just to get our roster set a little bit better. Okay, so that automatically dropped down a couple guys overall-wise, but yeah, still looks like a very solid roster without him. And once we get that depth defenseman, our team should be pretty good. Let me just check. Oh, damn. Oh, Aho dropped in 87. Damn, okay, so he wasn't actually like an 83 or whatever still. Okay, so that's a little bit scary considering he's getting paid $11 million in his 77, but we're still going to rock him as our top line center because he should still produce. But right now wise, if we wanted to upgrade something, I'd say probably what we want to do is get rid of Aho's contract and bring in a new center. That's something we probably should do, but I'm not going to do it right now. Let me go to special teams. I need to make sure Kagorov's on the power play, which he is. That's good, but I want this line to have some chemistry, so we're going to take out Udsorf, and we are going to throw in who's not on a power play unit. Maybe I'll put Kagorodov up there instead. Wait, Shelly's not on the power play. That's a little bit concerning. Got to make sure Shelly's on the power play, so we'll go something like that. We'll move Aho to the second unit. And I'll move Shishkinov there. Udsorf should not be on the power play. That's just a thing. He shouldn't be a power play player, and Shelly should be up there instead. There we go. That's good. That looks much better, I'd say. And then we want to make sure Shelly's on this unit instead as well, because Shelly's our other good goal scorer. And I think that should be good. Let me just change Geeky and Aho maybe. Yeah, that should be fine. Maybe put Shelly on the point. No, that doesn't do anything. And in special teams, like penalty kill doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, our team should be pretty good this season. And an AHL team has a lot of 78s. Like still Appleby could be an NHLer in the next few seasons. Same as Spalling even, who's actually listed as an NHL player. Just kind of a surprise. So yeah, we still have a lot of good stuff in the minors. But yeah, our team is definitely going to make a good run this year, I think. Even with the loss of like Hornquist and whatnot. Let me actually take a look at where Hornquist and Guerrero signed, and then we will get started with the simulation and see where we start off the season. Hopefully we simulate pretty decently, coming off 2 Stanley Cup wins. We don't have a legitimate NHL goalie anymore, I would say, because Beauregard's nowhere near as good as Hornquist, but we should be still a good enough team to go far. Was it Hornquist or Hornquist? I don't remember, because sometimes there's different spellings. Oh, there he is. He signed with the Montreal Canadiens. Interesting. On a 4-year deal and making $6.725. That's not a terrible contract, I'd say. Sucks that he goes to a team that I don't like, but best of luck in Montreal there, Nicholas. And then we'll take a look at Guerrero, if I can remember how it's spelled. Was it like that? No, I didn't spell it right. Okay. Guerrero. Oh, wait, that's because I put Guerrero. Let me just put Gur and see if that helps. There we go, that helps. He signed with the Nashville Predators on a 3-year deal at $5,275. So, yeah, we wouldn't be able to afford him back. but he signs in Nashville. Hopefully he has a good career over there for the next 3 years, but maybe we'll bring him back at some point down the road if he's a free agent again. So there is those signings. Let's simulate some of the season and see how this team does with the addition of the young guys from the AHL who should have technically won a Calder Cup last year, but didn't, I think. They were like a first-round exit, so... Oh yeah, there's Jacob signing. We need to call him up because he's our NHL depth defenseman, because we need to make sure at least to have one depth defender and a couple depth forwards in the NHL at all times, just in case of injuries. But yeah, Jacob should be a good depth defenseman for this NHL team. Good defensive awareness and whatnot, so I think that's a pretty good signing for our NHL team to make. But yeah, let's start simulating. So let's get the preseason done with, and then we'll simulate probably to around January the 1st, just so we can kind of see how the team does halfway through the season-ish. Or actually, we'll probably do the full 41 games like we normally do. Go to the halfway point exactly on the season. And preseason-wise, we go 6-1, losing to Colorado in the last one. Michkov had 9 points in 7 games. Not a surprise that he's off to a good start. Not bad. I wonder how the season is going to go. Can we go for 3 straight Stanley Cups? I don't know if that's going to be the case, because I've never won 3 straight Stanley Cups in a franchise mode before, I'm pretty sure. And it depends on how Sebastian Aho does as a 77, because it's kind of weird to play a 77 on your top line, but I know if he does play with the right players, he can produce. And are you kidding me? Galiev breaks his toe in his first game of the season, I guess. That is not great, because we don't really have another goalie that we could call up to replace him. Oh, we do actually. Korea's actually up to a 77. So at least we have Korea in the system, but still, that's not a great start to the young guy's career. So we'll call up him and throw in Korea, who's never gotten a chance to play in the NHL yet. And that means we're going to rely on 2 random AHL goalies that the AI has signed us 250-something overalls, which is interesting. That's a weird way to start off the season with a goalie injury. Okay. Let's see what we got here. A couple wins and a loss to Anaheim. Not the best starts to the season. I don't really know what the problem is, but then again, we might find ourselves eventually 4-4 to start. Buffalo's 8-0, which is kind of scary. Agostino's got 9 points in 8 games, which is pretty damn good. But yeah, so far, not the best start to the season, but it could be the injury to Galiev, or it could be the amount of youth we have in our roster, because it's definitely a different roster than we've had in the past. So let's go another month. Like I said, I want to go to game 41 at least in the season, and Galiev is back. That's good news, because now we can send down Korea, because I was not really sold on playing Korea this season yet. He's probably going to be in the NHL soon, though, which would be good, because he is getting almost close to being NHL ready. We'll throw him in instead of Belmar. There we go. Let's see. Can we get more wins than losses, please? There's 2 wins in a row. That's nice. Can we continue to win games, or are we just going to keep bouncing back between wins and losses? It's a little bit of a weird start to the year. It's uncharacteristic of our team, considering normally we're really good at this stage, but right now it's probably our worst start we've had in a number of years, which I don't know what the problem is. It could be the defensive core, because it's not as strong as years past. 12-9-1. How are we looking standings-wise? We are second in our division now, so not terrible. 27 points in 22 games for Michkov. He's already got 15 goals, so he's off to a great start, which is nice. But yeah, it's probably our defensive core, I'd say, that's probably making us a little bit weaker than normal, just because of the fact we don't have Werenski anymore. We didn't bring back Guerrero. We're running 2 younger guys like, Bilesma and Hordichuk and stuff like that. So our defensive core is definitely a lot weaker than in years past, but hopefully it finds itself by like game 41 or something like that. Let's go another month, I think. How much games we got before game 41? We played 22, so we got another 19 games. So we should be able to get through this month. Let's see if our team could get more wins than losses this time around. Sasaki was never injured. There's a win. There's another win. That's good to see. 2 wins in a row. Or actually 4 wins in a row. There we go. Now we're starting to play like our normal self. And then we've lost to the Canucks. There's a loss to Ottawa. Toronto has fired their head coach. Still a little bit of a weird start to the year, but sometimes after you win back-to-back cups, your team is probably going to go through a little bit of a sluggish stage because you played so much hockey, right? So Hordachuk's been injured. That's not great. We'll just go replace player. But that sucks for the youngster getting injured in his first season. And now Aho has been injured with a mild concussion. Let's just go replace player. And we're 22-11-2, so we're now first in our division. That is good. And we still have 6 more games to assimilate, but Michkov is already up to 26 goals in 35 games and 48 points. It could also be because Aho is such a low overall that we're not doing too well, but so if that is something we need to upgrade as our center core, then we might have to trade away Sebastian Aho, which I don't know how good he's been assimilating so far. Let's go 6 more games, and then we'll take a look at some player stats and team stats, and I'll also show you guys like the trading block and whatnot, just in case we want to make some trades in next episode. But yeah, hopefully we get these our top players assimilating well. Aho is back, so he only missed like 1 game. So throw him back in. He's up to an 81, so he must be statistically playing pretty solid. We win 7-4 over Montreal. This Hordachuk has returned as well. That's good news. Throw Jakimovs out of the lineup and throw in Hordachuk. There we go. Game against the Islanders is a 5-3 loss. And then we win against Dallas, lose to Seattle, and lose to LA. So 24-14-3, not the best start to the year, but once again, this team starts to heat up at the right times, so maybe it'll be better in the second half of the season, but not too bad for our offense at least. Michkov's already got 32 goals, so he's on pace for his 64-goal season, which is kind of nuts, and over 100 points, which means probably Agostino's doing pretty well, I would assume at this point. Let's take a look at the standings just to see what we've been doing good so far this year and what we haven't been. And then we'll take a look at our player stats so far as well. So far we're 7th best in the league. We are scoring 3.61 goals per game, which is the 4th best in the NHL. So we're a really good offensive team. The problem is our defense. Yep, we're allowing way too much goals against, because we're all the way down here at 3.22. So the amount of youth on our defensive core is probably making us worse defensively, so we might need to trade for a better defenseman. Example, Mackey, Minnesota, if he's still on the block, because he might be a good fit for this team. Our power play percentage looks like it's been pretty good. Yep, 22.8%. And our penalty kill at 82.2% is kind of around mid-table, looks like. So if it's one thing, we just need to address our defense, I think, because our offense is pretty good at this stage already. Let's take a look at our player stats, see what's going on in terms of this. So our center-wise, Aho's got 37 points in 40 games, so that's pretty good. This is probably his last year of his career, which is good considering he's getting paid $11 million. He'll free up some cap space, but pretty good start to the year for him. Geeky's got 30 points, no complaints from Geeky. Bentley's actually been really good as well, 27 points. Penner's got 14 points. In Demo, only 1 goal, but in 1 game, so that's actually really great to see him score in his NHL debut, so that's nice. But our centermen seem to be more passers than goal scorers. As you can see, all of them have only like less than 10 goals, but a lot of assists, so that's kind of interesting. Left wing wise, Agostino, 52 points in 41 games, on pace for 104 points this year. Love this guy. Definitely might be one of my favorite players I've ever drafted at this stage. 816 points now in his career in 831 games. And he's looking like he's going to have his 3rd straight 100-point season technically. If this one, he played all 82 games. Off to a really good start. That is good to see. So yeah, he's had a good start to the year. Definitely worth the 8.8 he's getting paid right now. And probably the 14 million that he's going to get paid starting next season. Shishkinov, 33 points is pretty solid. McGill's 12 points, not bad. Plus 11, that's actually pretty good for like a bottom 6 type of player. Michkov, 59 points, really good start from him. 32 goals as well. So he's on pace to have more goals than last year, I think. Yep. Yeah, he's been outrageous since we brought him in. He's on pace to have another 50-goal season, which is awesome. Shelley, 33 points, 20 goals already this year. That's not too bad. He's on pace for a 40-goal season. I'll take that from Shelley. Redmond, 22 points. Kagorodov, 21 points and 14 goals. Minus 16, though. Definitely a good goal scorer like I was thinking he would be. 14 goals already, so we're getting some good stuff from our right wingers. And an Utsorf, 12 points and a +7. Not bad from a 4th liner. Definitely will take that. His morale is looking pretty good as well. Defensively, Chikrin, 19 points. So our defensive core isn't picking up as much points as it used to, because Chikrin is dropping off a lot. Not sure if he's going to retire this year or not. Sasaki 12 points is pretty good. Burkov 11 points. Tukinen 9 points. Hordachuk and Bilesma 4 points apiece. Bilesma's a plus 12, which is actually pretty nice to see that. Up to an 82 overall. And Hordachuk is still a 79. He actually doesn't really fit our defensive core that well. That's a little bit weird. And then Jakumovs has nothing in 3 games as a depth defenseman. Goalie-wise so far, Beauregard has not been fantastic, I'd say. An 890 save percentage and a 3.2 is not that great. Galiev has been pretty solid. He's been probably the better of the 2 goalies, but still, the goaltending hasn't been really that great, probably because of the defensive core, but still. So there is that. Let me take a quick look at the entire league just for fun as well at this point, see who's leading. And Michkov's leading the league in points, and Agostino's third, so one of those 2 might end up winning like an Art Ross this year. And yeah, Michkov's on pace to potentially win a Richard if Yip doesn't catch him and stuff like that. Not bad. Best defenseman so far, Sergachev. Not bad. Goalie-wise, it's Kong in Columbus. Interesting. So yeah, I don't know if this team needs a change on the defensive core or what, because I'll show you guys our roster again before we look at the trading block. But this is what it looks like right now. Offense still looks really good. Defense does have a little bit of question marks, I'd say, because Tukinen should be more into the top 4. Burkov's more of a top 6 defenseman, but you can see the chemistry doesn't work, so we could upgrade this defensive core and trade somebody on this defensive core to upgrade it. Like, do we trade away somebody like Hordachuk, who's just making his debut this season, to upgrade this defensive core, similarly like what we did with DeMaio last year? And then goalie-wise, we could always upgrade the goaltending, but we don't have to. We could always throw McIntyre into the lineup as well and then maybe take somebody off the 4th line, but I don't think that's necessary because their offensive level has been pretty good so far. So let's quickly take a look at the trading block, and then that'll be it for this video, just to see what is out there in case we want to make an upgrade to our defensive core or not. Justin Barron, Yermo's there, Viro's there, a couple Finns that look like they played, both in the SM Liga. Cappy's a right winger, Hellenius. What else we got here? Any defenseman. I hope that Mackey's on the block, because Mackey would be the perfect option. Because we were looking at him for a few years, and he's always had multi-years on his deal. But this year, he only had 1 year, I'm pretty sure. So if he's on the block, he might be the type of player we need to bring in. Because I don't think we need anything on offense. It's just mostly addressing that defensive core a bit. Karatsov, Silovs, Kote, and Pederman, and Rikas. So some forwards. Philip Kroll on defense isn't really much of an upgrade. Minnesota has some defensemen. They have Nick Hague on 1 year left. Only fits our penalty kill. Bodie Wild doesn't fit anything apparently. Logan Stanley dropping off a lot. Doesn't fit anything. Thomas Chabot still has 3 years left. And Mackey's not on the block. Is Mackey still in Minnesota? Let me just see if Mackey's still in Minnesota. Because maybe we could still swing a trade even though they don't have him on the trading block yet. Let's see, is Thomas Mackey or whatever his name is still there? Oh, he got an extension. Well, we aren't trading for Mackey. So they had him on the block for a few years, and now that he's on 1 year left, they re-signed him to an 8-year deal at 10.36. That's unfortunate. So yeah, there's no way we're going to be able to trade for Mackey. They want to keep him for the long term, which kind of makes sense. Let's go back to the trading block again, but yeah, that really sucks that Mackey's not on the block anymore, because he was the type of guy I think our top 4 could have definitely benefited from, but unfortunately we can't bring him in. Hornquist is back on the block, which is kind of funny. Vukovic for defenseman, same with Asplund, and Goldman, who was with us last season. Anybody else on defense? Because that's probably where we would need to upgrade if we wanted to upgrade anything. We don't always have to upgrade our defense, because maybe it'll just randomly find itself in the playoffs, but we could always upgrade it if you guys think it's necessary. We have cap space to do it, so there's a Carlson guy that's an 86 overall. That's pretty good, but we don't really need to bring in any forwards. This guy only fits like our 4th line. Genther's on the block again. Coletta. A lot of guys with a lot of term. Nothing really in San Jose. Max Jones, Schultz. Oh man, Emil Schultz. I forgot about this guy. I don't know if you guys forgot about him too, but he is in Seattle now, which is interesting. Played in Chicago last year. That's interesting to see him actually get the chance to play in the NHL, because I didn't think he was going to get much of a shot. Nothing in St. Louis, really. Nothing really in Tampa Bay. Nothing in Toronto. Donaghy is for goalies in Vancouver. Wasn't this guy like a really good goalie at one point? I think he was. Yeah, he won 43 games in his rookie season, which was like a record or something almost. Huh. Might be a decent backup to bring in if we don't want to play one of our goalies for the rest of the season. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of defensemen on the block right now. Soderstrom, but 3 years left. Don't want to bring him back. Like, all the defensemen on the block pretty much have term, unless we wanted to bring in somebody like Hale Clegg. So, not really seeing a whole lot on the block, but you never know. Maybe there'll be something on the actual trade deadline day itself to bring in. But there is that, and I'll show you guys quickly again just the contract situations so you can see if there's anybody that's worth moving out that has like an expiring deal. So all these guys are up for renewal this year. All these guys are mostly UFAs. There's actually a good amount of RFAs too, actually. So we might be able to get most of these guys back this offseason. But if you guys see anybody here that you want me to trade away in order to upgrade his position, let me know. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes 4-inch mode. So in next episode, we will have the trade deadline. We'll simulate the rest of the regular season, and we'll see how this team plays out, and hopefully we could go for a 3rd straight Stanley Cup. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.